Once I retired and was no longer able to go to work, ceramics has been my escape, I suppose, from boredom. I'm Sally Hill. I'm 91 years old and I've been practicing ceramics since I was 21. Today I'm hoping to help a young person become involved in ceramics, and we're going to make some pinch pots.
My name's Eden, I'm 20 years old and I'm currently at art school studying sculpture.
Now here's clay for you.
It's very easy for young people to see older people as slower because of physical restrictions, but also it's hard to communicate and hard to connect because it's just on such a different wavelength.
To get ourselves set up, we need to knead the clay. What we're doing is distributing the moisture through the clay and making the clay pliable.
Being at the start of my career and still at art school, it's sometimes hard to think about making like a set decision or figuring out what exactly I like in terms of what my kind of medium is or what kind of art I really like to make.
Now we form that into a ball and just make sure that you've got it nice and rounded. Don't be afraid to use a bit of force.
How's that looking?
Oh, that looks great.
Thanks. I'm a bit worried that I won't be very good at it. My experiences with ceramics have been not particularly successful in the past.
If you haven't done it before, it can be very daunting.
Okay.
Clay has a mind of its own and it tends to challenge you.
These are beautiful. I'll just move them out of the way.
Well, that's the vessel that we're hoping to end up with.
If mine looks half as neat, I'll be happy.
Sometimes you can be successful from the very beginning of your introduction to clay, and sometimes it takes years. So don't be daunted.
Okay, thanks.
Sometimes I think young people probably see us as burnt out people, that we have lived our lives and that we don't have much to offer. But I'm sorry, we do have lots to offer if we're asked. Right, the next thing we do is to make an impression in the ball of clay with your thumb. You need to be quite forceful with it, right down to the base of the ball. And now we use our fingers to manipulate the clay from the outside in a circular manner to thin the walls. Making sure that the bottom of the vessel is thin as well. And be careful that you don't put your thumb right through it.
I think it's very common for people to think that young people can be lazy or not particularly responsible, or that we're quite judgmental.
The other thing to remember is you try not to work too much on the rim. If you handle it too much, the rim gets dry and you'll end up with cracks. Now, sometimes if your vessel is getting a little bit uncontrollable, I would just use something like this. You need to line the dish with something. You can put it in there if you want to help to make the shape. Growing old means different things to different people. As far as I'm concerned, it allows me to be more confident in whatever I do. For the time being, we just need to leave that because I think it needs to be dried.
How long will it take to dry?
Well, when the article is finished and we just left it on the bench, it will probably take 2 or 3 days, depending on the weather. If you pass those two pieces, just handle them carefully. These are pieces that have been dried and bisque-fired. You take the kiln up to 900 to 1,000 degrees centigrade.
So what happens during the first firing, the bisque firing?
The firing process, the clay becomes vitrified, which means it's turned into a very strong, usable container.
Being able to have advice and wisdom of older people, but also just to see and experience their wisdom and their skill is such a gift.
Now that these have been bisque-fired, they need to be glazed. We can glaze by dipping, pouring, spraying, or brushing. And today we're going to brush the glaze on.
Great.
We're going to be using a commercial glaze, and this particular glaze is quite thick, and we use a brush that will hold a fair amount of the glaze. I'll just show you how it's applied. You get a fair bit on your brush and you apply it. I'm going to do the inside first. So if you just try that,
Yeah.
do a small amount and just to get the feel of the glaze.
How's that thickness?
Well, how did that feel to you?
It was nice.
You then have to wait till it dries, then you apply another layer.
How many layers?
You need to put on at least 4 thicknesses of the glaze and you get a better result. I like to have the inside of vessels glazed. I like to pour for the outside. It just helps the vessel to retain that earthy look.
So we've glazed the pinch pots. What's the next step?
So what we then do is fire the pots to approximately 1200 degrees. We do have these pots have been fired for the second time, glaze firing, and they're vitreous.
Yeah, that's a lot harder than even this one.
much harder. Growing old has been a bit of a surprise, I suppose. I've been so busy and so involved in activities that I never gave ageing a consideration. All of a sudden, here I am, 91, and powering on.
I think we've done some hard work today. I think we'd probably deserve a cup of tea. What do you reckon?
Well, I agree with you. I think having a cup of tea is my daily pleasure, and it happens about 5 times a day.
Love that. That was really fun making the pinch pots with Sally. So much knowledge and wisdom about the material. So I really hope that she feels like her expertise and wisdom is really respected and something that's really valued.
Today has been a fantastic experience. I'm absolutely gobsmacked that we were able to achieve as much as we did. I hope you feel the same because I've enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, no, I had a really, really good time. Thanks for showing me and taking me through it step by step. It was really great to learn from you.
Eden was a very good student. She was able to achieve what I had found very difficult when I learned ceramics. I think sometimes young people are undervalued, and I would just like people to realise that we've all been there ourselves and to be more generous with their attitude towards young people.
Cheers to us.
And cheers to us.